It's Luke and Susie with you for Faith, Family, Culture, and our producer Mel has organised an interview for us.
Yep.
And she said in the notes to us, super interested in this one. So no pressure, but we've really got to get this right.
If we mess it up, then Mel's going to be so disappointed in us. I actually, when I was preparing for this, I was both amazed and excited, and also cynical and sort of not so on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
And there's two different issues. One is when I heard him mention Pong, and the other is when I heard him mention facial recognition.
Yeah,
we're gonna get to those as we explore the modern world that is ever so changing,
particularly in the world of shopping. More next.
Send a text to the Luke and Susie podcast. Text +61 427 667 874. That's a text to +61 427 667 874. On the radio show, you get a snippet. On the podcast, you get the full extended interviews and a whole lot more. This is the Luke and Susie podcast.
He's a futurist, he's a speaker, he's the author of the book Disruption by Design. Gihan Perera is our guest right now. Hello, Gihan.
Hello, great to speak with you.
You too.
Now, as a futurist, I had someone come to me the other day and just say, "Futurists? What? Pff, like they don't work for a living. They're just kids who get paid to play with toys." Is that true?
I get to play with some toys, but they're kind of more sophisticated now. But actually, a futurist, it's not like I've got a crystal ball and I'm looking into it every day and telling you what your lotto numbers are going to be. What I do is I look at trends. So I look at what's happening around the world, I look at what's happening in different industries, and then I help people understand what it means for them. So I'm almost like a translator for things that are coming up in the future that could be relevant for you.
Well, I remember watching a video where you were talking about us being Pong thinkers in an Xbox world, and Pong being the old computer game, and I just like that I grew up with, but saying everything has changed, and if we keep thinking Pong, we'll miss the beauty and the complexity of the Xbox world. And when it comes to shopping, this is our particular focus in our conversation with you today. It has already changed, Gihan. It has already just revolutionized, but you say there's more to come.
Absolutely. I remember a time, maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago, when the web was just starting to become popular, and people who were building websites and companies who wanted to go on the web were thinking, what can we do to make our online experience as good as having people walk into the shop? And now it's completely the other way around. Now people are saying, how can we create an experience in shops so that people aren't only going to go online anymore? And it's a mix. So some people will go online, some people will go into shops. But now retailers are figuring out ways to make their in-store experience enough of an experience that is different from what they can get online.
Now, one of the big things we've seen in the last little while is the self-serve checkout, and there's been a lot of people worried about this, that this is going to take retail assistants out of the picture, that they're all going to lose their jobs. Is that where you see it going?
So I think a lot of changes are going to happen with jobs. So there's been some reports here in Australia that say in the next 10 to 15 years, up to 40% of Australian jobs and roles in jobs are going to be replaced by robots and automation. And we've often had this with technology, that technology has replaced some jobs, it's helped people do their jobs better, it's displaced people, and it is something that we're going to have to deal with in the not-too-distant future.
Is it fair to say that if we can be replaced by a robot, maybe we weren't doing a very good job in the first place?
Well, I think the jobs that are going to go that are most at risk at the moment are the ones that you can write a process to do what you do. And anything in your role, anything that you do, even within your job, that can be written as a process, you first delegate it, then you might outsource it, and then it might be automated. And those are the first jobs that are going to go. So look at those roles, those processes that you're doing in your role, and figure out, can I now delegate that to somebody else? Because most of those things you don't actually want to do. You'd rather pound them off to somebody else, and that might be a robot, and then do the things that are more interesting, like actually talking to people and collaborating and having creative ideas and having interesting conversations. And they're the jobs that humans are going to want to do, because they're the things that we're best placed to do.
I always struggle with artificial intelligence, and maybe that's because I don't have enough of the natural kind. But because when it's written often with a capital I and a capital A and a lowercase I, or a capital I, a capital I, but without the lines above. And so every time I read AI out of context, it looks like Al. And there was a line in the write-up from you where it says, Al will get creepier. I'm like, poor Al. He's been marginalised here. But your suggestion is artificial intelligence is going to get creepier? Well, good sell job.
Well, I don't know if I actually say creepier, but it'll certainly get more sophisticated. It'll get smarter. So what will happen is, an artificial intelligence is simply computers doing things that are a little bit like thinking. It's not that robots are going to take over your world. It's not that we're going to have Arnie come back as a Terminator with that sort of intelligence, but we do have artificial intelligence even now. When you talk to Siri on your phone, when you talk to your Google Home Assistant, even when you're typing emails where it auto completes your sentences for you, Gmail now does that. And that's artificial intelligence helping us do our jobs better. So we see the creepy version, but we see that in sci-fi and movies and TV, but that's because that makes good theatre. But that's not really where artificial intelligence is heading at the moment. It's really helping us do our jobs better rather than getting rid of them.
But it's going to help us shop better as well, because there's a thing that talks about augmented reality and our ability to be able to find the best price and location for any object we want to buy.
Yeah, this is an amazing idea. So that's just around the corner. So we don't have it exactly like that yet. But let me explain what it's going to look like. And it's not that far away. So now, if you go to your phone or your laptop and you do a Google search for a product, you'll find the first thing that comes up is a list of possible retailers that are selling that product. Yeah. Now imagine if instead of having to type that in, you just held up your phone in front of an object and it would do that Google search for you. So that's effectively augmented reality, where the artificial intelligence recognizes the product, and then on your phone it'll come up with the various places where you can buy it and the prices you can get it for, maybe how far you have to travel to get it, maybe whether free shipping is part of it or not. So that's that idea of augmented reality, where you hold up your phone, or in the future your glasses or your contact lenses, you look into the world and it's augmented. There's additional information that's displayed in front of you. And that's not so far away at the moment. So Walmart in the US already has it, but it's for the product in store. So you can hold up your phone to a packet of cereal and it'll tell you what other cereals are available in the store and the prices and the nutritional value and so on. But soon we'll be able to do that with any product, anytime.
Great. I love that. I love the idea of finding the best price not being a massive research task.
Do you know the greatest value of this I see is not being about the price? I mean, if they've got this technology, right, can you imagine having glasses that you can put on when you meet that person at the party that you know you've met before but you can't remember their name and they remember yours, and to be able to have glasses with this augmented reality that puts some facial recognition and says their name's Steve. Steve! Steve! Please tell me that's coming, Gihan.
Well, absolutely. And this is the sort of thing that people say that's a bit creepy, because we don't want to. You could even walk up to strangers. Right. And as you're walking up to a stranger, they can, you can get information about them. So that's the creepy side of it. Right. But the useful side of it is you walk into a shop and the facial recognition technology in the shop will recognize your face and will give some information to the sales assistant, information that you've shared with them before. So what you bought before, when you bought, and they can actually use that to help you, to guide you, rather than saying, have you been here before, and what did you buy last time? All that information is available to them because of AI, and then that's augmented, and that's augmented reality that's available to them.
Our guest right now, Gihan Perera, he's a futurist and author of Disruption by Design, talking about the development when it comes to online shopping and technology, and it comes to our shopping full stop. More on this as we continue with this facial recognition and a problem that maybe I've encountered in my life, next with Luke and Susie.
If you like what you hear in this episode, Make sure you leave a rating and review on iTunes so more people have a chance to find it in their podcast searching. Search for the Luke and Susie podcast on iTunes.
I didn't really know what I wanted to do.
I didn't really know specifically what I wanted to do.
I've had no idea where I wanted to go in my life.
What if you could be on the radio and work with Luke and Susie?
The culture with Luke and Susie. Just been caught in my get the job done mode.
He must just be super strong.
Beyond the Mic is a 6-month training and mentoring program where you get to work directly with Luke and Susie and invest in a career and ministry in radio. To find out more, go to learnradio.com.au. That's learnradio.com.au.
Station sponsor.
Well, he's the author of the book Disruption by Design. He's a futurist, Gihan Perera, and we are talking right now about facial recognition. This is where I was like, oh, I'm not so sure this is a world that I'm happy with. Not for any reason other than I feel like facial recognition as it currently sits is potentially racist and hairist. Okay, let me explain this. When I go to the airport with the facial recognition on my passport, I've got a beard and I never get through the facial recognition stage. I always have to manually go off to the side. And there's me standing in the middle of about 20 Asian, Middle Eastern, or dark-skinned people. It feels like it's people with dark skin and people with beards can never get through facial recognition. Is this your experience? What is going on?
So it's interesting because I'm dark-skinned. I don't have a beard, but I'm dark-skinned. And the early versions of facial recognition software were not very good because they were trained only, well, mainly actually on white males, young white males, because people at Google who were creating these algorithms, they just had photos of themselves that they were using to test the software and to train the software. And so those sort of unconscious biases got built into the software. And now, of course, now that we recognize that there's a problem, that's being changed slowly so that the AI is being trained on a wide range of faces and I guess races and whether you've got a beard or not. I haven't actually heard that one about the beard, but that absolutely could be an issue. And but the facial recognition is not only based on specifically what you look like, but it can look at specific measurements like the distance between your eyeballs or the height of your ears. And that's the sort of thing that with humans we're very good at recognizing faces, and it's one of the most difficult challenges for artificial intelligence to be able to recognize a face, and even more difficult to recognize emotions when you see somebody's face, which humans are really good at. But AI is getting to the point where it's getting pretty good at that, and AI is even recognizing emotions in faces.
Not all humans are good at recognising emotions, Gihan. Now, I want to come back to something else that was pointed out, that checkouts are going to fade out, that you'll put your items in your trolley and you'll just walk out and the payment will be automated. Is this good news for shops eliminating shoplifting?
Yeah, so this is Amazon Go. So Amazon in the US have created these shops called Amazon Go shops where you do exactly that. All you do is you walk out without checking out anywhere. And the way it works is when you walk in, you take out your phone with your Amazon app on it, you scan it at a turnstile when you walk in, and then it recognizes your face. And it's got a whole bunch of cameras in the roof, so it can then watch you walking around the shop. Every time you pick up something, put it into your trolley, put it into your basket, the camera recognizes it and then adds it to your account. If you change your mind and you want to put it back on the shelf, then it'll remove it from the account. And that's it. Then you just walk out and it gets charged to your credit card. So absolutely it can help with reducing shoplifting.
Can we, it'd be great if we get to a point where, say with that Amazon Go, we can actually create a setting of the personality we want Amazon Go to have. We can say we want accepting Amazon Go, or we want judgmental Amazon Go. And every time we put like chocolate in our trolley, Amazon Go goes, "Are you sure? Do you really need that? Is that a wise choice, Luke?" That would be helpful for me, Gihan.
You know, it's funny you say that, but that's one of that has been a scenario that people are talking about, where you've got these. At the moment, you've got your Google Home, and you've got Siri that can assist you. But there've been people talking about what happens if it becomes exactly as you said, judgmental. And Amazon's voice assistant, because Amazon, of course, is a huge retailer, so everything they're trying to do is trying to get you to buy more stuff from Amazon. And so
Yeah.
its voice assistant might be giving you advice about, yes, do you really need that extra Tim Tam or not?
Do you
do you think your personal trainer would approve?
Yeah. As a futurist, can I ask you, Gihan, do you have a Google Home Assistant in your home?
I do. So I got the Google Home Assistant when it first came out, and then I bought the latest version of it, and it's great. I remember the time when, I'm an old guy as well, so I remember the time when we first had voice recognition, and you had to spend hours and hours training your dictation software to recognize your voice, and now you buy the Home Assistant, Google Home, or you use Siri, and just recognize your voice instantly. And I don't think, I'm also a software programmer, software developer from way back, and I don't think people recognize how sophisticated the technology has become to do that instantly with no training at all. You can recognize your voice and can respond to it.
Yeah, not everybody, Gihan. Like, the technology is really, really established, but no voice activation ever listens to Susie.
Doesn't
Matter what she says, it ignores her, or it just says, "Well, you want an apple?" No. I said, "Can you play?" No, it's just ridiculous how off the money it is. So what do you use things like that for? Is it just to play music? Like, what's the day-to-day function? I can't wrap my head around some of this.
Yeah, so things like playing music is one example. It's basically what it's doing is it's connecting to Google, but it's doing it by voice. So if I want to figure out how long it's going to take me to get from A to B, I can say, how long is it going to take me? And it will tell me it'll take me 27 minutes in traffic, and it'll automatically then also send the Google Maps link to my phone, so it's all ready for me to do navigation. It's definitely good for playing music. It's useful for knowing what appointments I've got coming up next. I can check the weather. If you've got a smart home, so you can connect it to things like your security system, you can connect it to a thermostat, you can connect it to lighting and to other devices around your home, and you can control your home by voice. And so that's happening more in the US, where they have more of those smart home devices connected, but we're seeing it here in Australia as well, definitely.
Huh. I find it fascinating because that has been a technology that I've just not got behind yet. So if you as a futurist are going, oh, yeah, no, I'm cool with it, it's fine, I go, okay, maybe it's not going to be horrible.
That you should put that in your next list of endorsements, Gihan. Like, maybe it's not going to be horrible if Gihan says this.
It's more, I'm just not interested in doing the research about it.
Ringing endorsement. Yeah. That's amazing. On the next poster.
So it's a funny thing that the technology now that some people take for granted and other people have had to grow up with. So I've grown up with a lot of this technology, and I've grown up with old versions of technology. I remember a couple of years ago, I was on a cruise with my partner, and we went out to the South Pacific, and her son, who was back home, he was staying with his dad, and they went out to the farm. And she decided to ring him one day on Facebook because we had internet access on the ship, and she was showing him around our stateroom on the ship. And she was talking to Josh. He was out in the farm, out in the middle of Western Australia. We were out in the middle of the South Pacific, and we were just using this really high quality video and not thinking anything about it because it's just available to us now using Facebook Messenger. And two things struck me. So one is, God, how amazing this technology is now. And the second thing is, Josh, he doesn't think it's amazing. To him, it's just normal.
Yeah.
And it's not that amazing to people who have now grown up with it, who are digital natives. And they're the ones who are going to be using it more and more, and then going to be moving into leadership positions, moving into the workforce, and they're just going to assume that that's going to be available at their fingertips or just by speaking.
Isn't it funny what we take for granted? I had a moment of being blown away recently when I was in Vietnam. We were doing radio shows from Vietnam, but on this particular moment, we were visiting some people coming from they were highly in poverty. They couldn't pay for their own cataract operations, and that's what we were doing there. So where we went to their home was classified as jungle in rural Vietnam. So we're already in a small town, and then we went out wider. I got a text message while I was there, which I thought was amazing to start with. Got a text message from a station, from someone back at home, to say that the audio files that you were supposed to have sent through haven't arrived. And I'm like, oh no, there's like 4 minutes to go before they need to be there. And I whipped out my laptop. I tethered my phone to my laptop and in the jungle in Vietnam sent all the audio files through to the radio station back at home. And I sat there and I went, I'm in the jungle in Vietnam, tethering my phone.
Yeah.
Like, it's just insane, isn't it?
No, it's crazy, isn't it? And this is so one of the things that's happening around the world is that there are parts of the world which we kind of call the developed nations, which are building this technology, creating this technology, and then passing it on to other emerging economies who've never had it. So they jump on it straight away and they leapfrog some of the old technology that we've kind of had to work through and we've had to pass through and then eventually discard and replace. But there are other emerging economies and nations which are just taking this on board right now and just using it because it's world-class, best practice, and so they're just using it straight away. And this is one of the really positive sides of globalization, that people all around the world now have access to some of the technologies that we've had to build, develop, enhance, and then maybe reject, and then finally come to accept it. They just go, well, here it is. It's pretty good. Let's use it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love it. It's always good to look at the future.
Fascinating world. We really appreciate you taking some time out to have a chat to us about this all. Disruption by Design is the new book by Gihan Perera. He's a futurist and a speaker as well. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
My pleasure. I love talking about these things.
To get more of Luke and Susie, simply click subscribe on iTunes or Stitcher or on the show notes, or yell subscribe into a tin can connected to another tin can by a piece of string. This has been another episode of the Luke and Susie podcast.